welcome back to Rodent Sports as we continue with the other bit of March Madness, not the basketball, but the playoffs for World Cup qualifying. And in this edition, we're going to talk about CONCACAF, which is North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. That is the confederation the United States is in. And they are in fairly decent position after not qualifying 4 years ago. It was an 8-team final round. This was in part because of a change in format that admittedly I didn't like. And the top three automatically qualify for the World Cup. The fourth place team gets into the playoffs. Canada is the big story because 4 years ago, Canada could not even get into the last round of qualifying.
This is Canada. We only have one road.
In CONCACAF. They were third in a semifinal round group with Mexico and Honduras and only above El Salvador. And they did not even make the last round of qualifying. But they have had some great players come along like Kyle Lauren and Jonathan David and Alphonso Davies, who all are playing in Europe and all doing really, really well. And from nowhere, Canada is now top of the table. They had to qualify in the previous round to get here, but did so very easily. And they now sit on 25 points after 11 matches. And they only need 1 point in reality to qualify because their goal difference is that good. One more draw in any of their final three matches, and they will qualify. And mathematically, they will qualify if they win or get two draws in their final three matches. They start their round begins. Their last round of matches in this year's qualifying begins with Costa Rica on March 24th away. That is a tough game. But they also have Jamaica at home in Toronto, and they finish at Panama. So it's actually a fairly difficult finish, but you can't imagine them losing all three games. Even if they did, they probably have enough to automatically qualify. So Canada's the big story here. On the unfortunate end, there's Jamaica and the Honduras. Jamaica 7 points, Honduras 3 points. They are the bottom two. They are eliminated. El Salvador on 9 points is essentially eliminated. They'd have to win all three matches and get a lot of help to get into the fourth place spot and get into the Interconfederation playoffs.
Too bad, too bad, too bad. Right again.
So really this is about Canada, the United States, who are currently second on 21, but only ahead of Mexico on 21 on superior goal difference. Panama, who sit in fourth spot on 17 points, and Costa Rica in fifth on 16 points. So for these teams, World Cup dreams will continue after this last round of three matches. One will be without a chair when the music stops. Canada, as we said, likely to go through. USA and Mexico, it's probably a little murkier for the USA than Mexico because the USA arguably has the toughest finish. No! Their first match is at Mexico, the Estadio Azteca, where they have not won in a qualifier ever.
Many times, yeah.
And they've only, I think, taken one draw in a qualifier there in their history. Every other time they've lost. And of course, if Mexico were to win that, Mexico would very likely be qualified or on the verge of qualifying for the World Cup. Then the United States gets Panama at home, which is, if they do lose to Mexico, is an absolutely massive match as Panama currently fourth, but Panama have a game at home with Honduras that you expect to win March 24th.
Wow.
And that is a gigantic game, March 27th in Orlando, just up the road from where I am. It just doesn't get much bigger than that, than a game like that. And the United States are really going to be looking at that game as the one that they absolutely have to win.
Oh, my goodness.
And if they're still in peril of not qualifying or only making the playoff, their last game is another tough one. They have to go to Costa Rica. No! Who is the team that is going to be trying, who is the team currently in the fifth spot and is missing out altogether. Of course, Costa Rica do have the table toppers Canada at home, but they at least have them at home. Then Costa Rica's got to go to El Salvador. That's a game they absolutely have to win. And they could still be right in it come the last match day. The other big game in the final match day, which is March 30th, is Panama at home to Canada. You would expect Canada to be already qualified. For Panama, that could be absolutely everything. if by some chance Mexico is still not qualified, they have El Salvador at home. You'd expect them to win that. So this is going to be the United States should qualify, but it's going to be tough. And they absolutely have to win the game at home. And that should be enough. If they beat Panama at home, that should be enough. Panama would not be able to get over them. And then Costa Rica would have to win all their games to get over them. So that's what it may very well come down to. But this has been an exciting and thrilling hexagonal, quadrangle, I guess, because it's 8 or whatever 8 is, whatever the word for 8 is.
The octagon.
Panama struggled early in the qualifying, and then turned it around in a game where they were at El Salvador. They were down 2-0, and I watched this, and then they scored 3 goals pretty much out of nowhere to turn everything around for their qualifying hopes. And they've been playing. It was not El Salvador. It was at Honduras. They were 2-0 down, and Honduras were reviving their qualification hopes, and it looked like Panama was taking a real dent. And then they scored 3 goals in 8 minutes and turned everything around. And ever since then, they've been really tough, the Panamanians. And of course, they qualified for the World Cup for the first time last time, denying the United States, who ended up in 5th and did not even make the playoff. And the Interconfederation playoff is a real lottery. You can't ever be sure. The CONCACAF team will end up playing the Oceania winner, which will likely be New Zealand. And the CONCACAF team has won that before. Mexico, 2 World Cup cycles back, actually got in that qualifier against New Zealand and crushed them in Mexico City. And the second leg was a formality. In this case, it is a 1-game playoff. Both of them will be played in Qatar the weekend of June 13th, 14th. So you'd like the CONCACAF team to win there against New Zealand, but in a 1-game playoff, anything can happen.
Anything is possible.
So you really don't want to be in that, although it's better than finishing 5th and getting absolutely nothing. The other interconfederational playoff, and of course we'll bring this up as we get to these two, will be the Asian playoff winner against the 5th place team in South America. So that is it for CONCACAF. It's pretty straightforward. Canada and Mexico are almost certainly going to qualify. So between the United States, Panama, and Costa Rica, one of them is going to qualify, one of them is going to get the playoff, and one of them is going to be sitting home wondering what if. The United States is in best position, no question about it. They got the points on the board, 21 points. The other teams have got to get results. But the thing is, the other teams are getting to play the United States, so they absolutely have an opportunity to get them. And what kind of mental state will the USA be in, and what kind of physical state will they be in after playing at the Azteca, which is at altitude, which is a very tough pitch to play on. Those games sap you of energy. And so what kind of shape is the United States going to be in when they play that game and then 3 days later have to play Panama and Orlando, which again, that could be, the weather down here has been unseasonably warm and humid lately. That's a tough, potentially really tough 2-step. If somehow the USA could win at Mexico and get it done there, that would be great for the United States.
And this is for the US of A!
But again, that would be historic. They have never beaten Mexico in a qualifier at the Azteca. So that's what that comes down to. So it'll be fingernail chewing and nervous time for everybody there. They do spread the times out for the March 27th matches. Costa Rica will play first. We'll play first on March 27th in El Salvador, and by the time that finishes, Mexico will be taking the pitch, so they'll know their situation, and the United States will take the United States has the last game of that night from Orlando, and we're all going to know what's what by the time they take the field against the Panamanians there. So that'll be very interesting. And then of course for the last set of matches, Costa Rica, USA, and Mexico, El Salvador will go at the same time, followed by Panama, Canada, which will go an hour later. So Panama will, at least by the time they'll have some idea of where they're at by the time they take the field, because both of those other games will be at the half. So that is CONCACAF, and we will come back and continue this with the other two confederations that are still playing qualifying games, both Asia and South America. This is Rodent Sports. Like and subscribe, share it around, tell your friends, and until next time.
That's it. We're done, right?